A J-Mix exclusive.
Hey yo, what's really hood with it, man? It's your nigga Gonzoe, man. And you're locked on the 2pac Nation. And right now, you're kicking it with J-Mix. Spin that shit.
Hello all, it's J-Mix here, and I'd like to welcome all my YouTube subs and viewers to part 2 of my exclusive interview with Gonzoe. Some of you might remember Gonzoe from the group Caution, and some of you might remember Gonzoe from songs like Dumpin' and This Life I Lead. Gonzoe just dropped Pull Up, a single from his new album entitled I Pledge Allegiance that is expected to drop June 19th. So I humbly ask all my YouTube subs and viewers to go check out I Pledge Allegiance on June 19th. Without any further ado, here's part 2 with Gonzoe. I had a question regarding Sharifah Knight. Was she head of Knightlife management by name, or was it something that she was hands-on with?
No, Sharifah was our manager. Like, you know, she was hands-on every day. She wasn't just the head of that. Not that I seen, you know what I mean? Like, every deal that was created for us, she was the one on the phone, her and Tamala. You know, every meeting that I showed up, she showed up, you know what I mean? So she wasn't just the head or the, you know, it was her company, you know what I mean? She ran the shit, and Suge just happened to be her husband. I'm sure he had some sort of input, but they was pretty good at, you know, they was pretty good at what they done and not creating a conflict of interest for the artist. So, yeah, she did her thing. She was good at what she done also. Made a lot of money with Sharifah.
The reason I ask about Sharifah Knight is because I feel she doesn't get enough credit for her work on Death Row and Knightlife management.
Well, I agree. I mean, and, you know, in most situations, again, in Hollywood, not to take any credit from anyone, but that happens a lot, more than often. You know what I mean? You hear about some of the women who are in power couples who, you know, go on to step out of the shadow of the previous relationship, but majority of the time they don't. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Hollywood is more controlled by men than it is by women. And I think, you know, majority of the time when it's a situation like that, I think that, you know, from a fear factor standpoint, it was probably more people more fearful of Suge Knight in Hollywood than it is of her, you know, physically at that time. So, you know, when people have breakups, people choose sides. You feel me? And majority of the time, if the woman's not having sex with the other party, they're going to choose the side that's most forceful. So that's kind of understandable. You know what I mean? Not to say that it's right, but what is right in this motherfucking world?
Now, Knightlife management got you on the tour with 2pac. Can you tell us about first meeting 2pac and a little bit about that tour?
Well, I mean, I've been on hella tours, you know what I mean? But what I can say about Death Row Records, Knightlife Management, when you go on tour with them, or back in the days, you know what I mean, when they was popping, like, that was like, I've never experienced no shit like that ever to this day. Like, it was just crazy, you know what I mean? Like, shit that you wouldn't, that you wouldn't even believe me if I told you. Like, motherfuckers wouldn't even believe me. That crazy. But, you know, everything was taken care of. The best hotels, you know what I mean? And you got paid every night to a sold-out arena. And, I mean, shit. You know, we go to the mall and literally we'll leave Foot Locker and nothing is on the fucking shelves anymore. Like, everything's gone. We'll go into Macy's and just buy half the fucking store. And, you know, just crazy shit on tour. Like, you know, they really treated you beyond who you were on the streets, you know what I mean? Even though we're stars on the streets, but you fucking with them, now you're a Uber star. Everybody felt like fucking Justin Bieber or Lady Gaga or some shit, like getting chased out of the mall. And, you know, but it was what came along with Death Row Records and Knightlife Management at the time. They were uber successful, and they just didn't manage anybody. Our whole roster was on. You know, it was a good time. And as far as meeting Pac for the first time, I met Pac for the first time in LAX airport the morning that we were leaving to go on tour, on that tour. You know, he was already my favorite rapper at that time, still to this day. So can you imagine just going to meet your favorite rapper and not only going to meet him, but, you know, we had talked on the phone with him previously before that, and he was saying how he loved our album and, you know, he was listening to it in jail. And so this means that he knew about me before I was, you know, knew that I was going to meet him. So it was just mind-blowing that, you know, that your fucking idol, he knew who you was, you know what I mean? And then we just hit it off, you know what I mean? From that point, he kind of like, you know, he knew the other members of Caution, of course, but you know what I mean? Like he embraced me, you feel me? And I went over to that side. I rode in the car with them from that point. You know, it was a different experience, you know what I mean? Than shit is today in music. I really don't care to hang out with rappers anymore. But then, you know, it was like all I wanted to do was hang out with Pac every day. That was my whole fucking agenda. I knew what I was doing all day. If I didn't have nothing, you know, Caution business to do, I was fucking at the Outlaw Manor, at Pac's crib, in the studio, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? It was a pretty exciting time. Different than today, I tell you.
Was it surreal going on tour as an up-and-comer, performing to sold-out shows, basically with All Eyes on Me being completely unheard of at that time?
Well, the first couple of shows, it was weird, you know what I mean? But our song was playing on the radio nationally at the time. Our album was doing well, and Tupac was still Tupac, you know what I mean? So the first show, I remember the first show was in, I want to say, Cleveland, and Mike Tyson was there. Mike Tyson had came out, and that shit was like kind of weird because now it's just like getting even more crazier. Pac's like, yo, walk Tyson out on the stage when this song comes on. So it was like, fuck, it's fucking Mike Tyson right here. You know what I mean? And I've been around uber stars before, but now you're fucking with iconic shit. And that was crazy. But as far as like Pac performing songs that nobody had knew, I mean, it was kind of like only we knew that because the crowd still went crazy like they knew the fucking song. It was still Tupac, you know what I mean?
I do want to talk more about your content, but I have a few more Tupac questions. I'm sorry for that.
You never gotta apologize for talking about Pac, man, you know what I mean? It's like shit. I don't get to do this as often as I should, you know what I mean? Whenever motherfuckers get me on the interview or get me talking, it's a treat, you feel me? I already know that we're going to be on here discussing some things that, you know, other websites I would get offended if they asked me, but this is Tupac Nation, so all Pac questions is good.
Did Pac give you any pointers on stage presence? I mean, I know it's a long time ago, but what did you learn from your time with Tupac?
Man, first off, you know how people talk about Jesus gave his life for our sins?
Yes, sir.
Pac gave his life. Pac gave his life for the sins of hip hop. Basically, that's how I feel. And you know how cats embrace Christianity, how cats embrace Islam. You know, if you really love music and you love the culture, it's no way you gotta like embrace Machiavellianism the same way and know your culture up and down like you know your Bible. And that's what it means to me, man. You know what I mean? It's kind of different, you know what I mean? Because the shit was some life-changing shit for me. You know what I mean? I don't even look at the game the same because the shit that he was saying, you know, I retained it, but I didn't understand the shit at the time. You know what I mean? It was over my head. He was telling me shit to prepare me for right now. All us niggas for right now. You feel me? Like, you know, niggas is way stronger than we were then. You know, we strong as fuck now because the things that speaking for myself, we was young then. You feel me? It was like Pac was speaking wisdom at that time and things that we weren't going through at that time. But, I look back now and, I learned a lot of shit from him. I'm still learning things every day, you know what I mean? Because, Pac talked a lot, and he didn't talk to the point where, he liked to hear himself talk. But, motherfuckers had a lot of learning to do. And he knew a lot of shit at a young age. So, I learned a lot, man. And the most thing that I learned is how to survive this shit. You know what I mean? This shit ain't gonna kill me. Like, it ultimately done him. So I'm not gonna let it kill me, and I'm not finna put too much trust in man no more. Or my friends, or hanging out with niggas, or the homies, and all that shit's a myth. You know what I mean? I'm a solitary person these days. I go to the studio by myself. You know what I mean? Like I'm, just things, to be sharper and know that everyone has an ulterior motive. And everybody ain't your fucking friend. That type shit. Motherfuckers come up to you and tell you what motherfuckers said about you. I'm more concerned, why was they so comfortable telling the shit to you? You come and tell them, it's just things, you feel me? I'm not a trustworthy person no more. I love all my niggas and all that, but at the same time, I'm not going to put the burden on them to say they'll die for me or die with me. That shit is ludicrous. No one's going to die for me or die with me. And if they would, I wouldn't want them motherfuckers with me because they're insane. You gotta be lying to me if you motherfuckers say, nigga, you my homie, I die with you, I die for you. If a motherfucker's actually serious, you can't be sane. And the shit I'm fucking with, a nigga gotta be sane, man. I don't want insane people around me saying ludicrous shit. That's what I learned.
Can you tell us about you and Pac getting kicked off the plane?
Man, we had just done the Superdome in New Orleans. And, New Orleans, man, is turned up. The shit is turned up, you feel me? So when we was leaving New Orleans, everybody was pretty fucked up. You know what I mean? Like drunk. Been drinking for days and shit. So we get on the plane, and the party hadn't stopped yet. So we're sneaking alcohol on the plane, and that's against FAA rules. You can't bring bottles of liquor onto a plane. But we did, and we were like in the back of the plane. We confiscated the whole back of the plane. That's how many people was on tour with us. We were all on one flight. And Pac and Sharitha, Pac and Sharitha were in first class, and everybody else was, occupying the back of the plane. But it got like, you ever been on the back of the school bus when the substitute driver is driving the bus and the shit's just crazy, throwing paper and just every kind of, all the bullshit. It was like that. And then Pac seen how much fun we was having, and he gave up his first class seat to somebody in the back, and he came back there with us. So now the shit is extra turned up times 10. So the shit is just going down. We're partying and shit, blah, 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 whatever. And the stewardess is trying to get us to calm down because, of course, after a couple hours, people start complaining. And she seen an open bottle. Me and Danny Boy was sitting next to each other, and she seen a bottle of Hennessy. And, she tried to confiscate the bottle of Hennessy. but it disappeared, you know, through the seats. Somebody else had it, and you know, obviously niggas wasn't giving her the bottle of Hennessy, and we thought she was bullshitting, and she wasn't. They fucking stopped the plane in North Carolina somewhere, at an airport in like Raleigh, North Carolina, and kicked us off the plane, everybody. And then took off again. So now we're stuck in the airport in Raleigh, and Sharitha's like scrambling to get fucking 30 plane tickets at 12:30 at night. It was a nightmare, and she was pissed. But, you know, that was one of those stories that I'm pretty sure she could laugh about it now because she did afterwards. You know, we all got a good kick out of it. Who gets kicked off a plane and can, you know, not go to jail?
Nowadays, that would have been a whole different issue.
Oh, please believe it. It would have been on CNN nowadays. What?
Once again, this is J-Mix here. And I'd like to thank all my YouTube subs and viewers for checking out part 2 with Gonzoe. Be sure to check out Gonzoe on iTunes and support his new album, I Pledge Allegiance. In stores, June 16th. I got more to come with Gonzoe, so please keep it locked right here. And I'll see everybody on the next upload. One love, everybody.
A J-Mix exclusive.
Whatever, shut up.